What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with a new comic book day haul review and a Funko Pop, as the title alluded to. If you want to see what I picked up today or want to hear some random rants or raves, stay tuned for the video. Now, before we get into all of this comic book goodness, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification if you haven't already, so that when videos like this go live or up ever so random, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later, as long as you watch it. We appreciate you. Talking about people that we appreciate, we want to show the love and appreciation to the ever-growing list of channel and Patreon members, people who have supported the channel through those memberships. If you are interested in the benefits of either or both of those, the links are in the description below. Also, if you need some supplies for your valuables, whether you're talking about cards or comics, even vinyl records, check out bcwsupplies.com and use the coupon code SCG to save 10% on your order. And if the BCW Supplies just doesn't roll off your tongue like that, there's a link in the description of this video for that too. So we got those new comic book day books, and I have read most of them, and I'll explain why on the most of them part, and also picked up a couple of old books, even though it was kind of a heavy week for me this week. It is, I don't know, it's just like that perfect storm that the last few new comic book days have been bigger than usual, but they've been bigger in a good way, meaning that I've been overall pleased with the books as a whole. Now, the being bigger, talking about not necessarily the amount of books, but the amount that I pay at the register, which some of that has to do with DC's price hike. But I digress. Nevertheless, the books as a whole for DC, Marvel, whoever that I've been picking them up from have been really good. Full warning and disclosure here, I might drop some spoilers for a book. So if I show the book and that's a book that you have not read and you don't want it to be spoiled, just mute me and watch me mime. Right? And then when you see a new book and it's one you're not even interested in, or maybe you might get interested in, because I think there's some number ones in here, then you can turn me back on volume, but just keep watching. Got to keep watching. All right, so first up on the pile was not the first read, but just the first up on my pile is the next Batman, the Second Son #3. I like this split here between the two Batman right here. So I just chose to go with this cover, and I alluded to earlier, $5.99, $1 DC, really. But it continues the story of Lucius Fox and his son, Tim, who goes by Jace now, is going before the court. He decides, instead of reading what his mom had wrote out for him to read as far as the accident that took place all those years ago, which I think that they wrote in. I don't remember that being in the original Batman story. I might be wrong. If I am wrong, leave me a comment down below. But basically, he tells the truth. She didn't really want him to, and there's some back and forth with that. It's okay. It's nothing to really to write home to mom about. At this point, I think this is like a 6-issue miniseries. At this point, I'm 3 in. Probably will keep to the end, but not really excited about it. Art's even worse. So then we got Savage Avengers #21. Savage Avengers has been an eclectic team of had some killer David Finch covers at first. The cover arts overall have been great. Inside art, yeah. And I think Duggan has done a good job overall. And I've said before on these Savage Avengers, I mean, it seems like this has kind of drug on. Uh, King in Black did some of that. The shutdown and the popularity of Savage Avengers when the shutdown was lifted. I don't know that Duggan, who does a lot of work with the X-Men titles, I don't know if he's putting the work in or if he's mailing it in on Savage Avengers. I'm getting kind of close to just dropping it. But Ghost Rider and Conan go at each other. And in the end, Conan ends up back in his world. Now, how all that plays out, then we'll see. Then we got Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon. I gave this a shot because Larry Hama was writing it. I'm an Iron Fist fan, and it was a miniseries. So this is the last of the series. I chose to go with this particular cover. I can't remember this lady's name, but she's a member of the whole Wakanda people that protect the Black Panther and all. And it just seems to me like they were trying to set her up for this big push. I mean, you're writing a book. I mean, if you're writing a book, unless you're segueing into the next miniseries, I mean, but if you're writing for that character to take the lead role, but if you're writing a book, pretty much who's going to win, who's going to be the hero, male, female, is going to be the title character. In this case, we're talking about Iron Fist. So in the end, they're fighting the dragon. They feel like she needs a little extra oomph to get her over the top. He gifts her the chi, the ability to do what he does with the Iron Fist. She defeats the bad guy, which made no sense to me. Why wouldn't Iron Fist be the one defeating the bad guy? He is, after all, the main title character here. And then she wants to gift it back to him. He says, hey, that's not how it works. And they gift it to this dragon egg. And so he's not Iron Fist no more. What is he? Flesh Fist? I mean, what? It just really was a letdown overall. It was kind of cool at first. I don't know. Maybe Larry Hama's lost his mojo at his age. But it wasn't worth the read, in my opinion. Walking Dead, the title that he keeps getting, the title that he, being me, keeps forgetting to drop. And so I keep getting these David Finch covers and keep reading it, and I'm enjoying it. It's interesting because a lot of times in dealing with superhero comics, you get used to the fact of, okay, well, if they die, then it's no big deal. They'll be back. And Walking Dead is one of those, and I had been told this before, but it's one of those series that don't get used to the characters because they're not going to be around very long. And this continues to prove the point. So it's got that gravitas to it, right? And so the covers are cool. The writing, Robert Kirkman, that was when he was on the up and up and heading in the direction where he is now. So he was certainly in his prime for sure then. I'm enjoying it. I like the color. I don't know. I mean, I could do without the color. I'm going to probably need to do without the color because it's like, I think there were 100+ issues of Walking Dead. I don't know if I want to keep going down that road at $4 a piece. So Batman 109. I chose to get the B cover. This again, $5.99. Shame, DC, shame. So this has the main story, Batman 109, and the backup story, which is Ghostmaker. Now, one other thing, now Tynion, and there's another book in here that he did, but Tynion has been killing it on the indie stuff. Something's Killing the Children. Is there a pun there? The Last House on the Lake or something like that. Or The Only House on the Lake. We'll get to that one in a minute. He's been doing several indie titles and to acclaim, right? But with Batman, my gripe has been that he's introduced a lot of new characters, which is not a gripe. I like creativity and not just rehashing the same old tired storylines over and over again. Give Joker a break, right? Batman has a plethora of villains, but if you want to make new ones and build them into something, give them a whole backstory, that's fine. But he's just making all these new characters, villains and heroes or anti-heroes alike, and never doing anything with them, never really delving into their backstory. You get kind of some of that with Ghostmaker with this backup story that they're doing with him, and the fact that he's being used more now as kind of a sidekick, if you will, to Batman, which is okay, but it just doesn't make any sense because the whole lead up was Ghostmaker's going to kill him, Ghostmaker's going to kill him, Ghostmaker's. Oh, okay. Well, let's team up. Let's make it better. Okay, that was kind of anticlimactic. It just doesn't seem like it was well thought through. I guess he's okay as a character. We'll see as they continue to delve into him a little bit. But you get Batman going against the peacekeepers or whatever. He finds out that they are going to be framing this other group for this bombing, and that's where it leaves us, him going up against the peacekeeper. And I believe that's the guy that he actually saved from that explosion. You can leave me a comment down below to clarify, but yeah, I think I like this issue. There was enough action with enough backstory. The backup story was kind of meh, but I mean, it's playing into kind of building on the Ghostmaker, some of his past. So it was okay. Probably one of, if not the top Marvel title for me right now. Like I said, certainly one of, if not the top Marvel title for me, is Star Wars, and in particular, this Bounty Hunter. So they had Bounty Hunter Alpha that came out, killer covers, but I get kind of worried when all these comics have bajillion covers to them, because it's like you can't sell good comics because of the quality on the inside. You know, because a lot of times you get those covers and they're garbage writing, but great art, or at least great cover art. So these have been having some killer covers, the Alpha, but the story writing was great as well. Now in Alpha, he loses Han Solo because the carbonite process is falling apart. You don't want him to die. Somebody ends up stealing him in the process. And so in this one, the bounty hunters go after him. He takes care of them in typical Boba Fett fashion. And he goes straight to the horse's mouth. He wants to know what's going on with Jabba the Hutt, and why is it that he put a hit out on him when he's trying to bring him Han Solo. And they said, hey, you're taking too long. Jabba was ticked. Plus, he got this kind of deal that from Crimson Dawn. Now, that is a name that you might recognize from Han Solo. And lo and behold, it's revealed at the end. Spoiler. But at the end, Kiera, who runs Crimson Dawn, is the one that has kidnapped Han. Now, so we will see how all that plays out. Is she hero, villain, anti-hero? We'll see how it all plays out. But it's been good thus far. I say thus far, all we've been having is basically running to, because this is the actual first issue of it. Then we got Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing done by Rom V, the issue number 4. And with some artists and writers just G-Haul. I've said this about Gideon Falls with Jeff Lemire and Sotomayor, something like that, that drew Gideon Falls. He also did some Joker books, and Jeff Lemire wrote on them. It's just like the artistry just accentuates the writing, or the writing accentuates the artistry. Which one? It doesn't matter, because they both are just telling this fantastic story. And with Rom V and I believe Perkins on the art, This is telling a luscious, pun intended, story about Swamp Thing. The former avatar for Swamp Thing comes and talks to him. He finds out he's just a part of it all, and he rescues the girl at the end of this. Poison Ivy, or at least one of her avatars, part of the Green. I don't know. But she is in it as well. So it has been a pretty cool series. I have not known a lot about Swamp Thing. I picked it up by recommendation from several people in the community, and I haven't been disappointed thus far. Then we've got Noctera #4. This is the A cover. I will probably, if I can find it in the wild at a shop, probably pick up the Frozen cover because I really like that one better. But I wasn't sure if my shop was going to get it, so I didn't even ask. This cover is nice enough. I believe Tony Daniel done it. Yep, Tony Daniel's done this. And Scott Snyder is one of those writers that if I see his name on it, I'm going to give him a pass, meaning I'm going to give him, well, I'll give this a look because Snyder's on it. I was kind of let down with Undiscovered Country. I don't know if it was his writing. I mentioned a while ago that sometimes the artists and the writers just mix. I feel like Snyder and Capullo did that with the New 52 Batman run, but I just don't, and subsequent runs in DC Comics. But I just don't know if it was not the art. It just didn't do it for me. Having said that, coming back with Noctera into issue 4, still really good. I hate to give it super high praises at only issue 4, simply because I don't know if this is an ongoing, like that Swamp Thing's only in issue 4, but it's a 10-part miniseries, right? So if it sucks, we're going to land this plane pretty soon. But with Noctera, it might be an ongoing series. I don't know. But it is a good story. She is continuing to fight to save her brother, who is being affected with the darkness plague. And they get out there to the coordinates that were given. They don't find anything. They're fighting off the monsters. And the guy who made all this happen, made the sun go dark, shows up and rescues them. They go down there, and she says, for the first time, I've seen real sunlight. And that's how it ends. So also a little side story, the guy that is chasing her, they're actually trying to tell some of his side story too, which is interesting. So a good read. I think the art works well. Tony Daniels, I think he's doing the interior. Yeah, doing the interiors too. Great stuff. Recommend it if you are not already picking it up. Now, we talked about Tynion and his work on Something's Killing the Children and the various other independent titles that he's currently doing. And one of those is The Nice House on the Lake. This is a DC Black Label book. It is, but it's only $3.99. It's not in the prestige format like some of them are. There's a lot of covers to them. The John Jane cover, fire, but I didn't order that. I just got this. Now, because I was unsure as to whether or not I wanted to start picking up another series, to be honest with you. And so it looked interesting, but I just kept hearing so much buzz around it. And my LCS happened to have one copy on the shelf because I didn't put it in my pull box. And I said, let me just go ahead and pick that up. So pick it up I did. And it set the premise for the book in this first issue. It's pretty interesting. So we'll see how it goes. Again, it's only on issue 1, so I hate to do it. But basically, this guy who you end up, spoilers, this guy that you find out is some kind of alien or something, has met all these people over the course of time. And like with this one girl, he has this conversation with her, like, well, what would you do if an apocalypse happened? Blah, 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 blah. So he invites all these people up to this lavish home on the lake. You guessed it. And you have this nice, lavish home. They're all partying, hanging out. And the girl gets all these messages that New York's destroyed. Everybody's dying from this flesh-eating disease. And he said, the guy, that's when he reveals himself and says, hey, look, I just saved all y'all. learn to live here because there's nothing left of all your folks back home. And all these symbols that are across here, those are applied because each of the people that are in the story are the various thing, like I think Joker is one. There's several different little symbols that are done. The artist, I think, is one. And I guess all of them are maybe the better parts of society or creativity. I don't know, but we will see. Tinian seems to be honing his craft in whatever he does seems to be a hit. Department of Truth, that's one he's doing. That was just a little too weird for me. Wind was one he did. I didn't really get into, but sing high praises for Something's Killing the Children. So then we've got Immortal Hulk, number 47. This is an homage cover, one that Bennett done. And I'm not sure which issue this homages, but and I notice right here that they're putting the legacy numbers on there. So legacy number 764. So get ready, folks. When they hit 775, probably, and then when they hit 800, we're going to get some giant size issues and a bunch of other stuff. They are restarting. So basically, they just also put Immortal Hulk as part of the Incredible Hulk run. Just stay with one number. Stay with one number, Marvel, for the love of all good things. But Immortal Hulk is coming to an end, I think, in issue 50. And it was announced Wednesday that Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman are moving off of Venom, and they are moving over to Hulk. And oddly enough, Al Ewing, who wrote Immortal Hulk, is moving over to Venom. Okay. So my criticism of Cates is that he knows how to start and hype up. Knows how to start, put, and hype it up. Sets a premise, and you're like, man, this could be really interesting. And then it's just like, I mean, it just falls apart at the end. And you're like, all that for this? Wow, that was kind of anticlimactic. I'm enjoying his Thor run. I did not get into his Venom run, but I kept up with the storyline enough to say that, okay, Null, all this big lead up to Null's kicking butt, taking names, nobody can fight him. He kills Eddie, Captain Universe shows up, and then bam, bam, boom, he slaps Null around like yesterday's news. And Null's dead. I mean, it just, or if you go back to the Thor storyline, when Black Winter is this big thing, Galactus is shaking in his knees, and Thor not only kills Galactus, but smacks the Black Winter into dust. Okay. All right. Well, that was enough of that. So we'll see how he does with Hulk. And he'll probably stay on till like 800 or something like that. So this is the Alex Ross variant of Immortal Hulk 47. I've been picking up the Bennett homage covers and the Alex Ross covers, which the early ones, I don't think that these late prints, these late numbers have been going to second, third, fourth, fifth printings like the early ones were doing. But the early ones, I didn't pick up all those extra prints. So this is the War of the Bounty Hunters #1. This is the Boba Fett action figure variant. There is one like this for the Bounty Hunters Alpha that they did. It's the black armor, though, that because he spray painted his armor in Alpha to disguise himself, and he goes by Jango Fett, but whatever. So I picked up this one as well. Then I picked up Moths. So this is from AWA Upshot. An interesting thing about AWA Upshot is that, and I believe it's a creator-owned deal, so I think the creators kind of keep some of the rights and such to some of these characters, and it seems like they're building a connected universe. I really enjoyed Erratic was a series they done. I'm liking Chariot, but this is one that they've done. So basically, J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote runs on Thor and Superman, and I think he did Superman and Spider-Man. He did the World Trade Center 9/11 issue in that time period. So he wrote right as COVID was fixing to happen, a book. All these people died. Some of the people that were left living actually had these powers, and I think they're building a whole universe around it. And this is basically these moths. The power that they have is pretty much pretty substantial, and the government wants to clamp down on them, obviously, because of that. But they only live 6 months. Once their power is activated, they only live 6 months. So, like a moth that they're not very long lived. And so this is this girl who knows that she's got this power, and instead of just keeping it in her and not doing anything with it, she decides that she is going to activate her powers, which she does at the end of the issue. And this is a 6-issue miniseries, which is all the AWA Upshot has been doing, which is fine if you're going to move on to a new thing. But with Marvel, what they do is they get you to collecting a series, and then they start another new number one. So this is another one that I did not plan on picking up, but I was reading some good stuff about it, and it's Basilisk. Colin Bunn, who's known for his horror stuff. This is by Boom Studios. Boom Studios has been doing a lot of good stuff lately. So hearing the things that it did, kind of felt like, let's go ahead and pick this up. And I actually picked up 2 issues. I'll probably keep this one. This one looks kind of cooler than this one does. I thought that I might end up giving this one away on a show or selling it on the Saturday morning Cartoon Crew auction, which will be here Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So click that bell notification so you don't miss it. But because I was hearing some people were not able to find it or pick it up. So we'll see. Then we got Shadow Man #2. This is a horror homage, which the one escapes me as to which one it is. But if you know, leave me a comment down below. You as a viewership are always very helpful. Make mentions about needing to know something, and I normally don't have to go look it up. You're all wells and fountains of knowledge and are willing to share that, and I appreciate that. But Shadow Man #2 came out last week. I did pick up Shadow Man #2, picked up the regular A cover because the LCS had that one. And he said this one's on back order. It was not in. As I was standing there talking, the UPS man pulled up, and lo and behold, it and some of these other ones were in there. So worked out good the timing wise. But it's a good read. Colin Bunn actually does this one as well, and it's got a good vibe to it thus far. Shadow Man is basically like Valiant's brother Voodoo, and that's how I usually describe him. He's been done really well. He's been done really badly. I guess every character probably has had that over the course, especially if they've been around a while. But Valiant really needs a hit. So Shadow Man could be it for them. EXO seems to be very erratic in their release dates. I don't know if it's because the creators around that, Valiant's current editorial turmoil, or what it is. And Bloodshot, I think, is finally fixing to come out again. So they really need some consistent hits too. But anyway, that is that. So I'd recommend picking it up. if you like that kind of genre. Firepower number 12, another Robert Kirkman title. This is the first issue that had multiple covers. They had a McFarlane cover. They had a 1 in 25 McFarlane cover. They had the Liefeld cover. They had this one. They had several different ones. So I just the McFarlane or the Liefeld was not available at my LCS. Otherwise, I probably picked up the McFarlane one. But this was one of the ones that I thought was better than some of the other ones that were available. So I decided to pick it up. And it wraps up the storyline. It's not finished. The story's not finished, but the storyline is finished. And again, spoiler alerts, but they find out that the dragon is not really a big thing. So the big baddie, he goes after to activate the dragon, which they alluded to at the end of the last issue. This guy and the guy with the firepower go after him to stop him. They find out the dragon's not there. So the clans are cool with each other. Everything's going to go back to normal. He goes back to the girl that he thought was dead and says, hey, why didn't you tell me? I thought I'd lost you. Did we have anything for real going on? And she says, well, it doesn't really matter now. You're married. Move on, basically. She turns around. She's crying. So obviously she still has feelings for him. But he goes back to living life as normal. And the attacker that he jumped out of the plane with the snakes comes after his wife. His wife shoots the attacker, kills the snakes. They're not sure where the snakes are coming from. But at the end of the story, the dragon statue, the snakes are wrapped around the dragon. So how is that all connected? I don't know. Robert Kirkman's weaving a tale. I've enjoyed Firepower overall. I think that the art and the Robert Kirkman kind of worked well together. So that's been okay. I think that this issue, it's one of those series that this is number 12. I feel like they probably could have went 8 and told the story just as well. I think they could have went 8 issues and told the same story. But hey, I'm not the acclaimed writer that Robert Kirkman is, so I'll just leave that to him, I guess. But it just seemed to me like that as little that action that went on in this story, at the very least, they could have killed it at 11 as opposed to dragging it out to 12 because this is a oversized issue and it's $4.99 as opposed to $3.99. But it was really just, okay, we're done, and setting up the next issue, which I felt like could have been done already. All right. So there is that. Now, these are the 3 books that I have not read as of yet. That is Hellions number 12. This is X-Force number 20. And then Marauders number 21. And these are in the Hellfire Gala deal, which I am not a big fan of. I'm not the least bit excited about this whole deal. So, that's why these got pushed to the bottom of the stack, and that's why I had already read all of these at the time of the filming of this video, was because it's like, because I feel like that, yes, they are going to set some stuff up moving into, I think, ultimately getting them out off of Krakoa and all the things falling apart. Kind of alluded to that with Mystique's failure in X-Men, which I thought was a great issue. It's the issue that we've been looking for quite some time. We being people that are classic X-Men collectors that like the action, not all the drama. Having the X-Men play ball, whether it's basketball, baseball, that's been done several different times over the course of years. Having them have a Christmas issue where they go out and enjoy the play or fight each other in the snow, that's been done too. And here and there, that's fine. But lately, we have been getting a lot of that. and they're calling it the Hellfire Gala, or they're calling it Ten of Swords, and it's just like, what is going on here? What is this? What is this garbage? Um, have not been a big fan of it, and it has caused me to drop several of the X titles, Excalibur, New Mutants. So I don't typically get Marauders. X Force has been pretty solid thus far. Hellions has been a surprise, one of those surprise reads. Didn't think I would like it, but I do. X-Men's been kind of waning until this last issue. I'm like, okay, things are really heating up. I like this. Wolverine's been pretty solid, which going back to X-Force, same writer does that, Ben Percy. And Cable is getting canceled. Yay, Cable is going away, and now we're going to have Old Man Cable back. Thank you. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not a real big fan of the current House of X lineup. So we'll see. But so there are. Let's see how many. What's interesting to me is the shift in taste. So we got one Valiant book, which really came out last week. So really this week I don't have any Valiant books. We've got. Let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3 Image books. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Marvel books. So it's a high for Marvel this week. But having said that, there was 2 copies of Bounty Hunters, and there was 2 copies of Immortal Hulk. So that kind of skews things as far as titles go. That's not quite as many. So as far as Boom, I had 2 for Boom, had 1 for AWA Upshot. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 for DC. So DC and Marvel pretty tied this week as far as titles, actual titles picked up, which has been interesting to me as lately. And let me know down in the comments below, has the current state of the market shifted your reading? I know we being collectors, go through times in our collecting there. Things kind of cool off. And it's like, hey, let's kind of move in this direction. Sometimes it's to silver or gold or bronze. And sometimes it's to certain characters. It just seems to me like as of late, Marvel has been losing my readership. Just haven't been putting anything out there. Obviously, I was a big X-Men guy, and I just elaborated a little bit on that. DC is kind of skewed right now because I'm a Batman guy, so they're putting a ton load of Batman books out, which I think I'm picking up every one of. So that is kind of skewed, but just been picking up a lot more independent Image titles and such like that than Marvel lately. Been picking up as many or more DC than Marvel lately, which is different for me. But let me know in the comments down below, have your buying habits changed recently? Also, since I'm collecting Hulk now, we got the Incredible Hulks. This is where they turned the title plural and kept the numbering. No, this is 612, 615. This is where they find out that 616, Greg Pak still on this, did some solid writing during this run. But this is where they found out that there was another son besides Scar, and he was not as nice. And then we got 618. There was a couple more at the LCS that I could have gotten, but I chose not to because I was already, the new comic book day was already so big, so I'll just hold off on a bit. Now, talking about some different titles here. I got these books right here in the mail today from AMKM Comics. who usually sell on Metaphorical's channel, but they've been known to be on comic book posers auctions as well. So Stray Dogs, I think this is issue number 2. This is the Pet Cemetery homage. I like me some homages. Now I've actually got the first 3 issues of Stray Dogs. I'm actually going to get to read it. I've heard it's pretty entertaining. And then this is Stray Dogs number 4. So did I say first 3? First 4 issues. But this is an homage to something which is eluding me right now. But if you know, let me know in the chat below. So I noticed they happen to have this one up. This was one I was missing. He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse, which had some really cool Tim Seeley writing, In-Huck Lee covers on there. When this first came out, it seemed like it was going for a little bit more than cover, and I was not in the mood to pay more than cover, but this was just cover price on that. And this is some old art from Dave Cockrum that I don't think they ended up using, or maybe it was in the back of the Giant Size X-Men, the original one, but they just chose to reuse it when they did the Giant Size X-Men thing last year. I didn't get this cover, so I decided to pick it up. Some Dave Cockrum goodness. Interestingly enough, if you see this right here, it says Dave Cockrum plus Jason. That's right, it is. And then talking about Immortal Hulk and some Alex Ross goodness, we got Dr. Fry right here on issue 37. So as y'all know, I was not picking up Immortal Hulk, or you might not know. Should assume. But I was not originally picking up Immortal Hulk. I read it when I had the Marvel Unlimited app. So I was up to date on it, but I wasn't picking it up on the single issues. And since when I started collecting Hulk, and I like the Alex Ross covers, and then later the Bennett homage covers, so I'm going to go back and fill it up. Those first 10 issues can be pretty pricey. I might be okay paying that for number 1, which is kind of an homage to Hulk. Was it 102, 103? But then some of the other issues, I was like, it's really, I'll get them eventually. It's just that when I have that kind of, I end up waiting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work, but those have been my comic book pickups for New Comic Book Day. I'm sure that I'll have more videos drop later this week showing some more stuff coming up. I did also pick up this at GameStop. The lady that works there knew that I was looking for it. I did not pre-order it, but she knew I was looking for it, and that was the Star Wars Bounty Hunters collection, Boba Fett. Like I needed some other thing to take up a lot of space. And if I do not take this out of the box, it is going to take up a lot of space. But if I leave it in the box, it is stackable. But I don't have any pop protectors to fit it. I'm assuming. Let me know if you're a Funko collector. Is there pop protectors to do these deluxe ones? But this is the GameStop exclusive. I think the next one that comes out is the Bosk. But yeah, it's all the different bounty hunters, which I kind of want to do, but then I kind of don't want to do because they think they fit together like in a puzzle piece, which to do you would have to take out. So I'm torn. I'm just a hoarder. That's why I'm torn. That's really why I'm torn. But I appreciate everybody for watching. What do your New Comic Book Day in particular pickups look like? Did you see a lot of the same books that you're picking up? And what do you think about them? Maybe your opinion's different than mine. I want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. And then also want to shout out again the channel and Patreon members for your support. If you're interested in either or both of these, the links are in the description of this video. You might be aware that I recently gave away an Uncanny X-Men 266 on my channel. And the YouTube and Patreon members had 5 entries just for being a YouTube or Patreon member, not to count all the other benefits that they have already. but they got those automatically as part of their membership. So keep that in mind, because I have giveaways every month, and I will be announcing soon. Depending on when this video drops, I might have already announced what the giveaway for the month of June is going to be. So be sure to click that bell notification so you don't miss any of that. And if you're buying a lot of comics like me, you got to save everywhere you can, especially on supplies, because they're not comic books. They're just supplies. So you still want to get the best. Go to bcwsupplies.com. Use the coupon code at checkout for 10% on your order by saying SCG in the coupon code box. If you can't keep up with that link, you can find one in the description of this video. Also, if you are getting frustrated and trying to fill those hard to find books that are not necessarily worth an awful lot, but they are run fillers. They also have bigger books, but in particular, run fillers are really easy to find at mycomicshop.com. If you have never used mycomicshop.com, check them out. They have a large presence on eBay, and you can find, if you see a mycomicshop.com on eBay, they have the same thing over on their website because they post them at the same time, but it's cheaper because they don't have to pay eBay fees over there. And if you've never used them before, there's an affiliate link down below. Another way that you can support the channel without having cost you anything. So check that out. And you always want to remember this.
Let me know when you're rolling. A sword of omens tells me that you're watching Southern Comic Geek. Thundercats. Ho!
Till next time, folks, keep reading, keep collecting. Adios.